Hello, my name is Tabs and welcome to episode 67 of the Grow podcast. I hope you're all doing well and able to find ways to enjoy a non-Arsenal life. With me on today's therapy or catharsis pod, someone who is always happy and positive no matter what Arsenal do. He never lets it get him down. He never gets angry. He never gets annoyed. Is Mos. Mos, how are you? And how much of a see you next Tuesday is Anthony Taylor and Fabio Herzler?
Hello, Tabs. I'm doing good, thanks. Actually, it was interesting yesterday. There was a few messages from Andy and other friends. Just their head was just spinning after that draw. And it's interesting because I've made peace, as you know, Tabs. I've made peace with the fact that I believe Liverpool are going to win the league. I've said that for the last few weeks. They just look too good. And it was different yesterday. I do agree with you saying that Anthony Taylor and Fabian Herzler are see you next Tuesdays. But we can't blame them for the draw. And we'll get on to that, I'm sure. I just want to very quickly say hi to a few friends in Arsenal Glasgow as well. I've made some really good friends over the years. I've been a part of that group. And Isaac in particular, if you're listening, I hope you are listening to the best pod on Spotify. I just want to say hello. I see you. I have my fishing rod out for you last night. Took the bait massively. But let's just agree on one thing. One thing. It's Arsenal over everything else, okay? Just because I don't say something when we win or lose or whatever, it doesn't mean I don't love this. In the words of Stuart, I don't love this fucking football club. So let's get on with it. Let's talk about the game. Let's have a therapy and get it over with.
We will do. Yeah, look, come rain or shine, we'll be Arsenal supporters. We love it. We hate it in equal measures over the years. It is what it is, and we will do our best to enjoy ourselves nonetheless. So look, in this show in part one, we will go over yesterday's ultimately very disappointing result against Brighton, and then part two, but we'll find a way to see what's going to happen in the League Cup semi as our youth team take on a full strength and informed Newcastle. So that's going to be one to look forward to. So look. We're going to do a few things a bit different today, but we'll still stick to some of the formats. So that as we always do, Mos, let me know what your highlight and just one low light, because I'm sure there's many of yesterday's game.
So my highlight was Ethan Nwaneri. It just seemed like he has taken this opportunity to start. We spoke about this last week on the last episode. We believed he was going to start on the wing, or I said I think he was going to start again on the wing, and it was really nice for him to have that. I think Arteta alluded to it in the press conference, and you said the quote that Brentford, he made his debut there, and so that was kind of why. But it was nice that he trusted him again and repaid his faith with a goal, which a very good goal, almost like a Saka 2.0. That was my highlight, and that's where it stops. The low light for me personally is none of our players being able to make a 5-yard pass in the second half. It was very, very frustrating to watch. There was a few times where Marino, who the jury's still out with, Thomas Partey, who I was waxing lyrical about in the last episode, Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard looked unwell. All these players, they just could not string a 5-yard pass together. Every pass was either to the left or the right of the player they were intending to pass it to. Brighton gained possession, and they were all over us. I'm just happy that we drew the game and didn't lose.
Yeah. No. In terms of my highlight, it's related to Nwaneri, but it was the commentator, and he made a comparison over the two 17-year-olds. So you've got Luke Littler, who won the PDC World Darts Championship the other night, and Nwaneri, and he made a comparison about these two budding sports stars being 17-year-olds, and then he said whatever, blah, 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 but they're very different athletes. And it just made me think of the role reversal. Imagine Nwaneri throwing arrows at the Ali Pali and Luke Littler on the wing for Arsenal.
I've not seen Luke Littler's diet though. It's like just mallow squashies, a kebab, and then plays FIFA before he Well, can you imagine Ethan Nwaneri doing that? He's probably having, chicken and pasta.
Yeah, I don't know. Wasn't that the problem with ESR? That's what ESR was having, so that's why he had to leave Arsenal, because his diet wasn't great. But no, that just made me chuckle about that. In terms of the low light, I think I'll pick the team news, because just hearing that team news, seeing it, and I put in the chat, I'm a bit concerned, a bit nervous. Something wasn't quite right, and we'll get onto that. So that just sort of set me on the back foot from the beginning, because look, as last night's result goes and everything, like I've got so many thoughts going through my head, lots of topics, both about the game and the bigger picture. But if we start with that lineup, so we had Raya, Partey at right back, which was expected, Gabriel, Saliba, Calafiori, Rice, Jorginho, Marino in the middle, and then Nwaneri, Jesus, and Trossard. And I just saw that, and my biggest concern was that we were missing attacking threat and creativity, either on the pitch or on the bench. There wasn't a huge amount to change things up. If anything wasn't going to go right, we knew it was going to be a tricky game. I think we said it was going to be low scoring and tight. Brighton has drawn a load of games, don't score many, don't let in many. And I was like, how are we going to break this team down? Odegaard on the bench and Havertz, not even the squad again. So look, before I say my piece, how did you feel about the lineup? Did you have any, like me? Did you have concerns, or did you just think, no, we'll be fine, this team's good enough?
I definitely didn't think this team was good enough to win a game against Brighton. I think I said in the podcast in the last episode that we can't just take Brighton for granted. I'm sure I said it was going to be a 1-0 victory. It was a very tight game. The only thing is, there's an illness going around. There's a lot of people unwell. There's flu, there's a strain of COVID, there's a common cold, there's all these different things going about. And you must think Havertz and Odegaard, two players who, even if they were semi-injured, you would think they would want to play. And it was quite telling that obviously they couldn't at all. And when Martin Odegaard came on, he did look very, very unwell. So you kind of have sympathy for that. And then you look at the lineup and you think, right, okay, the back four is not a bad back four. Thomas Partey's played a right back before. Calafiori obviously is back in the team. But then I just don't think the Rice, Jorginho, Marino midfield worked. I really don't. I don't know what else we could have done differently, but I just don't think it could have worked. Could we have risked maybe playing either MLS or someone on the right and put Thomas Partey in the middle? I feel we missed him a lot in the midfield. I don't know if that's how you've seen it as well. And then up top, it was just Ethan Nwaneri was the only one really doing anything of note. Trossard looked a shadow of himself. I think the occasion maybe got the better of him, although I was saying that in one of my group chats that, the booze maybe got to him, but he scored, last season against Brighton. So, he should have expected it. So a difficult lineup, but genuinely, Tabs, what could we have done differently?
No, you're right. I'm glad you appreciate that, because there wasn't a huge amount that we could have done differently. I think Arteta said on Havertz and Odegaard, being ill. And I didn't realise Odegaard was ill. I thought maybe he's resting him after the game. We've got the big games in the midweek. Brighton, we've got enough good players. I didn't really know it. He said, Kai tried, but he was very honest and said, I cannot even travel. I'm not feeling good at all. We tried yesterday to see if he could train. He tried his best and wasn't able to do that. Martin, he didn't train yesterday. He said, don't train and see how I feel tomorrow. And he did his best to be here because we knew the numbers we have. So he was there as a bit out of duty, being the captain. How ill must Havertz be if he can't even train, can't even travel? That doesn't bode well either for Tuesday. You don't suddenly just recover. Injection of vitamin C and you're all the better. So, but we'll come to that. So look, you're right. I don't think we have any choice. I think the one area, I think the biggest issue I think yesterday in a way was the Timber miss, and then the fact that the way we react to that is doing Partey at right back, and then we missed Partey in the middle. Therefore, Jorginho played and he struggled, and it's that knock-on effect. And maybe this is Arteta's conservatism, Arteta picking. I wouldn't say favourites. It's this trusted thing. But I was looking at I saw this stats online about when we played Partey at right back, we haven't actually won a game. Or there's certain numbers we don't win. We draw, we lose. So I think 2-2 against Liverpool at home. We lost to Newcastle away, drew with Fulham, and now drew with Brighton when Partey plays right back. Now, Partey himself plays actually quite well there. He doesn't let us down in that position. Against Diaz, against Liverpool, he did well, and I think he did well again yesterday. It's the knock-on effect. So could he trust like a Kivior there, or could he trust Kivior there, or could he put Calafiori there and MLS at left back? Because I think we just lose too much, and this is in hindsight. I think he trusts Jorginho, and then Jorginho was just not on it yesterday, So it's easy to say in hindsight, but maybe that's the only one thing that I would do differently, is that knock-on effect. And you can see statistically, him playing right back himself doesn't do badly, but it impacts the team massively. And him having that driving force from the middle, I think would have helped us. And having Jorginho is now a 20 minutes close out the game option, and not a start and so on. So
it's funny. It's actually quite worrying how the decline, because Jorginho, played. It could have been a bad game yesterday, but I don't see him starting very many games. I think he's there as almost like a manager on the pitch, if you like, or on the sidelines. Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head with what I feel about Thomas Partey. When you look at those 4 results in isolation, they are not his fault, but we just lose that midfield zip, if you like, passes behind the lines. And what's interesting is we've drawn so many games this season from winning positions. And it feels like 2 of those, certainly with, obviously, against Fulham and Brighton, what I'm trying to say is it was a very similar type of game. It was almost like, is it because we don't have Thomas Partey against that type? Fulham and Brighton are quite similar in the way they play, and I think Partey in the midfield against those teams, it would have been a different result. Especially yesterday, I think it would have changed the game.
Well, it's a weird one. He's been our best midfielder this year, and all of a sudden, hey, let's take our best midfielder out of midfield and put him at right back. Surely you must say, no, he's our best midfielder. And it was a bit like back in the day when it was the thing with Xhaka. You take him out of midfield and we put him at left back. Not only do you have a poor left back, you have you losing out of midfield, and it's something Arteta has done, and it's his trust and he look he puts out the team that he thinks is going to win, and look, they don't play badly on purpose. Circumstances, illness, injury, yada yada yada. And we come to it, but I just think that thinking there, and if you look at this, it's just like, it's taking your best midfielder out of midfield the right option. Surely there's a better option. Surely we can cover Kivior at right back. Surely he's not so bad, and that he's not, he's not coming up against anything that great at left back and on the left wing. So surely we should do it. And it just strikes me as an odd one. So
could we have played someone like, I'm not saying we try it against a team like Brighton, but would you have considered maybe Tierney, Zinchenko, Kivior at left or right back, and Calafiori at left or right?
Don't know. Obviously not. That's it. He thinks he's my best option there. Jorginho should be all right, and that's it. And then it just didn't turn out that way. And look, okay, so we come to like the first talking point. I think in isolation, considering the injuries and the illness, shitty weather, we'd only played a difficult away game 2 days ago, I would say in isolation, it's a hard-fought point against tricky opponents who don't lose much, don't win much. They're very physical. So actually, it's not so bad. So if you think about that as into, do you think actually, okay, just ignore everything else. If you just saw that game and you thought everything considered, I'll take a draw and get out, not losing. And that's what I think Ian Wright said, that, he put a bit of a positive spin on the result. He said, look, the main thing is you got to win your home games and make sure you don't lose your away games. The fact it's a point on the road, you have to take it. You could keep putting Liverpool under pressure, in inverted commas. You can't be losing in this situation. So would you take the point in isolation, given everything surrounding it?
Yes. Yes, the answer to your question is yes. Yeah. In isolation, yes. However, when you look at our away form, it's 5 wins, 4 draws, 2 losses. And you look at Liverpool, we compare ourselves with Liverpool this season because they're top of the league, 7 wins, 2 draws.
Yeah.
So, and there's a big thing going around. I don't know if you've seen, I don't know if you've been on social media the last 24 hours, Tabs. You were quite quiet last night. You in a ponderous mood when you messaged me quite ominously about 11:30 at night, going to bed, like, good night.
Well, it was 11:30. I was quite tired, but yeah,
Well, I
but
know, but
I had been doing a lot of pondering all evening.
it was just it was interesting because it was just so direct, and that's not like you normally. But
Yeah.
anyway, basically, there's a stat going around that essentially Liverpool have a lot of tricky away games to play, and we've played all of our tricky ones. So we'll see. We can compare them. But when you look at this result in isolation, yes, a hard fought point, but also a game you expect to win. On
Yeah.
paper, you expect to win, not with the squad we had, and you sound like someone from a different channel there blaming the weather for.
I was just adding it onto the list of just shitty things, and all the rest of it. So it's not.
My concern was the
Yeah.
fact that we had 4 left-sided defensive options on the bench. We had Tierney, Zinchenko, Lewis Skelly, and Kivior on the bench.
Well, you never know what happened. Calafiori might go down, but yeah, I think we'll come to the squad in a bit later. So look, as I said, I think in isolation, given the circumstances, you take the point. You're right. If you're looking to win the league, sort of games you find a way to win. Given circumstances, yeah, it's an unfortunate point, but sometimes you just take these points and get out of dodge. We didn't quite get out of there, and I think. And look, I'm not going to be Pollyanna-ish here, and I'm not going to be, there is room for criticism here, and I'll get to that. But I think just the final point before we get to some of the critique of what happened yesterday and the squad and the team and Arteta is that I feel that the season is just taking its toll and catching up with us. Eventually you try and play, X amount of months, with 2 to 3 months without your best 2 players in individual mode. Odegaard was player of the season last year. We missed him for 2 months. Saka is now out. So you take your best 2 players out of any team, they will not be the same, which then also has knock-on effects like insufficient rest, recovery, rotation, players coming into disjointed teams. We've got I think the back 4, we've had like 10 or 11 different variations. And then you could see yesterday, Rice was knackered, Marino was knackered. We don't know how impacted they are. Odegaard ill. I think Martinelli was injured. So and I'm not trying to make excuses, but you can see how it just eventually you can make do, you can mend and stuff over short periods of time. But if you have to consistently do that now. What is brilliant about us? We aren't losing. So I said, okay, the draw is not great. 1 point, no points here, neither here, there. But look what's happening to City. They lose 1 player or a couple of players. Look what's happened to Man United. Looking at what's happened to Spurs. I don't see any other team suffering like we have to suffer and still being in our position. The only team that are lucking out, now they're playing well, but Liverpool are not affected by this. They've got they got their best player having the season of his life, and so for sure they're going to be top, and for sure they'll win the league. And well played to them. They deserve it. They've put in the hard yards over the years, so I'm not going to begrudge them.
But if they lose Salah, Van Dijk for 3 months, it could be a different story, which is what you're alluding to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and you can look at other teams like if City lost Ruben Diaz and Erling Haaland for 2 months, they would look like a different team. If Tottenham lost, well, Tottenham don't have any good players, but you get my point. So
yeah. And they have done, and so actually, Man United have been missing players, Spurs have been missing players, City missing players, and look how they've declined. We are still second in the league. Okay, granted, we're not where we are. We're still second in the league in the semi-final of a League Cup. We're in the FA Cup, just by virtue of we haven't played. I don't think many other teams, and so I don't want to give. There is room for criticism here, but also you've got to think that, how many other teams could still be where we are and still almost be in with a shot, given everything we've had to go through. Again, shitty red cards that you never see for anyone, And the final point, and before I let you finish off, is that it isn't a coincidence that this sort of thing happens after international tournaments during the summer. The seasons after international tournaments, players get injured, players are fatigued. It's just very, and I think you'll look at it, you get strange results, strange seasons, and maybe this is why the likes of Bournemouth and likes of Forest and other teams are maybe doing well, because maybe they had less. I haven't done the analysis, but they would have had less players being away on international tournaments, playing all the minutes of all the games during the summer, and look how they are now, and look, Liverpool are lucking out, and well played to them. So that's football, and it's not an excuse. But you can see how other teams who may not be impacted in post international tournament, stuff like this happens all the time. I mean, look at Declan Rice, played every minute for every game for England. He practically played every minute last season, and he's practically playing, and we're having to try and manage him, and he doesn't look fit. He looked absolutely shattered yesterday. There were times he was running back, and it was like running through treacle. And so yeah, can you at least take solace in that and say, okay, yeah, it's shit, but I can understand some of it.
Yeah, look, don't get me wrong, fully agree with what you're saying, and I want to preface this point by saying I don't think we're going to win the league, right? I've said this multiple times, but I don't think it's because we're shit. I think it's because of a multitude of compounding factors, such as what you mentioned. Players are tired. We don't have the depth. We don't have the depth in the squad to rest and rotate players. Like it would be amazing if we had a ready-made Saka replacement that could come on and play against teams like, for example, Ipswich or teams like Southampton. Games like that where we don't really need a Saka or, for example, a replacement for Martin Odegaard. We don't really have that. So I think based on this season, how it's going so far, and if we do end up finishing second, third, whatever, then I think it's a massive chance in the summer, in the transfer window, for us to offload some players like Thomas Partey and Kieran Tierney, whose wages obviously we're paying and we don't really need to be, but then also strengthening the squad with actual players who will provide the actual depth when it comes to the games like this in December, January, when players are at risk of injury or coming back from injury, we're not rushing them back. Look at Martin Odegaard's played almost every single game since he came back from his injury.
Yeah.
So obviously he's unwell, but if he wasn't unwell, he'd have started yesterday. Yeah. So it's tough, it's tricky, and I don't know if you've seen, but Ethan Waneri is also injured now apparently. And it's good when you look at Arteta's
bad news. He said as well. He wasn't happy about that. It wasn't like it's a little tweak, he'll be fine. It was like, we've lost him now. Hope we find him because
so that's another issue. So you assume it's going to just be Martinelli and Jesus and Trossard now for the foreseeable. We don't know how long Ethan Waneri is going to be out for.
It's crazy.
You hit the nail on the head with the Declan Rice point as well. Like he looked so unfit, and we played Newcastle in literally 2 days' time.
Yeah,
and we can't not play Declan Rice against Newcastle in the midfield. So
no, I know it's tough. Yeah, it's tough, and this is where the criticism come in. So there's a couple of elements in terms of yesterday's game and the bigger picture, and you've touched on it in the squad. We are at least one attacker light, be it a wide player, be it a centre forward, be it even a creative midfielder. We are one, and I think we knew that as we went into the season.
And Raheem Sterling was not the solution.
No, he was basically replacing Nelson. He was just basically replacing Nelson's minutes, same wages, same minutes. That's all that. No, look, we tried with Sesko. Okay, he wouldn't be in the answer to dreams. He would have been a developmental player, but he would have been, a body, and said, shit, we need bodies at the moment, no matter how good they are at football. So I think. We are one attacker light. And now look, you can't mitigate for every circumstance. So compounding injuries and illness, that shit just happens, and you cannot say, all right, we need two starters in every position, because football clubs cannot operate in that way. But we're definitely missing something there. Now in the summer we prioritised Calafiori, which thank God we got a left back in, because we needed that, and we prioritised Marino, which again, considering where we are at the moment, he may not be what everybody wants. I think everyone is more wanting someone like an Eze or someone more attacking, someone more flary, but that's not what Arteta wants, and that's not what he got him for. And in terms of an attacker, we tried, but who was available? Who could he put? But I don't know. And this is where I think, this is the biggest black mark I can find on our executive, is that fact that they've left us short there, and it is really costing us. Do we do anything in January? Is there anyone in January you can do? Cunha's staying at Wolves by the looks of things.
The Cunha thing was just smokescreen. I think Arsenal maybe planted it in the news just to make the fans think we were going, but he's never leaving in January. Wolves are at risk of relegation. There's no chance. And I said it in the chat in the Grove, I don't think Cunha's a solution long term to our problems either. He's more like a Trossard signing. He's not. He's had 1.5 very good seasons at Wolves, yes, but he is the best player in a pretty poor team. So he stands out even more. For example, Liam Delap for Ipswich or Raul Jimenez for Fulham. those types of players probably wouldn't be very good at Arsenal, but they're very good in their current teams.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, I mean, but we do look like we're short up front. We have. Yeah, you're right. You said we got Trossard now, Havertz, Jesus, Martinelli, and depending on that, and that's it. And I think we missed something there. I don't know. What do you think we need? Of those three things, do you think we need just another centre forward, a wide threat, or a creative threat?
well,
I mean, we need all of them, but but if we had to pick one, what is it that you think that will help us the most?
the meltdown will begin when we sign a goalkeeper in January. We need a goalkeeper. We genuinely need a goalkeeper because we've only got obviously Tommy Setford is not going to be playing much, and then we've got Raya and Neto.
Neto.
So I can't wait for that meltdown. But
It's not happening.
In all seriousness, in all honesty, I think we need a world class winger, and by world class I mean someone that we pay. A world class forward, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Whether it's a winger or a striker, I don't mind. I would love us just to go all out for Alexander Isak, whether it's now or in summer. I think he is the one player that will make us go from the last 3 years of, in inverted commas, what everyone's calling us a bottle jobs, to then being consistent trophy winners. He is someone who can score a goal from out of nothing. He is the perfect Arsenal type of player.
Yeah.
So for me, I think we should put all of our eggs in that basket, in the Alexander Isak basket.
Yeah. No, I his injury record is a bit naggy, but yeah.
You look at his injury record, right? Let's look at how many games he's played and how many games, he's missed 2 games this season against Man City and Everton. But he scored the same number of goals as Erling Haaland this season, which obviously is not a great thing because Haaland's having a stay humble season. But I don't think Isak's injury record is anything in the last couple of seasons that we should be concerned about.
Yeah.
Although, when you come to Arsenal, you pay the injury tax.
Yeah, exactly. There's something in the water or the ground. No, I agree. He's like that. I don't know what the answer is. I'd like another winger. I think on the left hand side. You cannot buy ready-made Saka replacements because who's going to come in knowing that Saka's the number one just to sit on the bench? So you need to find alternatives, and I think we need a Saka equivalent on the left. So there we got 2 attacking threats down either side, and then we can then maybe have a developmental person in the middle alongside Havertz. Don't know, but again, it's finding that right person. Can we do anything in January? I think we need to do something in January now, especially with Waneri out. We're screwed. We need body. We need someone who can do something up front. Don't know who that is, or but we need to get someone in. And the thing is, even if we get someone in now, they're not going to be ready until for another 2-3 weeks. So it's you can't leave it too long because the season could be over by this time next week because we've got Newcastle, Man United, and Tottenham. And we'll come to those. We'll come to that in a minute. But it's going to be challenging. And look, as for yesterday's game, so let's do a bit of an analysis on yesterday's game.
Do we have to?
Okay. Well, yes. Have a look at it. Okay. So what? Okay. What do you think? So we took the lead. So actually, first 20 minutes, half an hour, relatively comfortable. Wasn't a lot happening. We knew this was going to be tight, and we got that. We got a really nice goal, well played by Marino, I think, in the middle to set up Waneri, to get the ball to Waneri in space, ran through loads of space. Rice was offering a decoy, and look, he did well to score, and we like that. That was, we got behind the Brighton, we attacked them, we're direct, and we got a goal. But then what? Then it seemed like, we seemed to play for the rest of the game as if, right, we tried to hold on to a lead from 30 minutes. We tried to say, right, okay, now we're going to shut up shop. But you can't do that for 30 minutes. We stopped attacking. We sort of played, I've heard somewhere saying we played 2-0 football at 1-0. And then you're going to be open to shit happening. I don't know. It's, where is that Arteta? Is that the players? Where did you, I don't know. How could you pass that? how do you fit? I don't know. Is it hard? Or what do you think happened? What do you think happened? What could we have done differently, or what could we have done better, or what should we have done? To
We should have went to kill the game off at 1-0. We should have.
yeah.
You've got a spot on there. We played like we were 2-3-0 up at 1-0. But the problem was we were so predictable in the second half, and we never. It just felt like we weren't going for the killer, the second goal. When Ethan Nwaneri came off in the at half time, it just felt like we lost all shape, all structure. It was weird. It was like there was no out ball. There was no one to. I said this last week. There's no one to bring us up to the pitch. There's no one to actually carry us up 15, 20 yards. And we kept trying the same thing over and over again. The same corner kicks, the same free kick. Everything was just rinse and repeat. It was the same. Pass it to our wingers, pass it into the midfield. Thomas Partey taking too long on the ball and then passing it backwards, and we start again. And it was just, and we were playing into Brighton's hands. The goal was good, but Ethan Nwaneri is not averse from receiving some criticism. I think towards the end of the first half, did he try maybe too hard to beat his men and didn't play a more defensive game, if you like. We lost the ball a lot. He lost the ball a lot of times. I remember watching that in the first half. But yeah, it was a weird. It wasn't like any other performance we've seen this season, though, was it? It wasn't like against Everton where we were trying, and I just think we had a really off day.
Yeah,
Fulham is just Fulham. That's a very tricky place to go. But against Brighton, it was just like we played. There was something different. There was something off.
I think also Brighton are very, very physical, and they were allowed to be physical. It's like playing Newcastle; they get away with it, and that maybe puts us stride. As I said, I think we were not right. We didn't have the energy, but it just felt like we didn't really show any intent. We didn't put pressure on. There was no control. A lot of anonymous players, and you can I can always, the first sign was when Jesus goes a wandering trying to get the ball, comes back deep, goes out wide, and all the rest of it, and he does it miles away from his box. Then we have a problem because we need him in the box, and he went. I was right, just get in the box, be an option. When he goes a wandering and he'd get the ball, there was a couple of times it was him and Martinelli on the wing, and there's no one in the area. And when that happens, you can see, okay, something's not working here, and we just seem to offer nothing, and it was just sort of like, right, 1-0, shut up shop. But we're not good enough. And as I said, we can mitigate to a point, but I think this is Arteta's conservative nature to a point in terms of the team that he picked. But also, I don't think there was enough intent to drive forward to get the control, get that second goal. Because I think Brighton, because of their results recently, they were there for the taking. You get another goal, I don't think they're coming back. I think their heads would have dropped. But I think they felt that, okay, they're still in it. And then when this happens, and this happened to us a lot, and I think there's this stat here that this is the 9th time Arsenal have scored 1 or none in a Premier League game this season, and they dropped points in 7 of those matches. So again, we surely, again, look at our statistics. We cannot be relying on 1-0, and we leave ourselves open to shit happening, because at 1-0 anything can happen, and it did. And so we move on to that penalty. What did you think?
It was a penalty. Was it?
Okay.
Was it? No. I'm gonna. I've toyed with this a lot, and at first was like, no, that's never a penalty. Not in a month of Sundays. It's never a penalty, because we've never seen them given, and we'll never see it given again. However, when I've watched it back, it's a tricky. It's so. Let me ask you this, right, and this will help me make my decision.
Okay.
If this happens anywhere else on the pitch, is it a free kick, or is it a clash of heads, a drop ball, and play restarts?
Well, 2 things. One, Saliba got a touch on the ball before he hit Pedro. So he actually hit the ball before Pedro. And 2, I would suggest it's going up for a challenge, clash of heads, drop ball, restart, and the ball gets passed back to the team. I also for penalties, I know it's a foul's a foul no matter where it is on the pitch, but there has to be a certain higher tolerance for penalties, because you go from absolute nothing to a 0.8, 0.9 chance of a goal for something that was nothing. So I would suggest, and if this was against Arsenal, I'd say, okay, it's accidental play. You see goalkeepers coming out trying to punch the ball. They get a slight touch on the ball, punch the player in the head. No penalty, no, nothing. We saw that at Inter, So no, I think it's because we see these things happen all the time, and we never see it again. We've never seen it before, and I don't think we'll see it again. And and then up steps Anthony fucking Taylor. Say, oh, you know what? When you guys were laughing at me when I was telling you to sit down earlier in the match. Well, here you go. Who's laughing now? Gives the penalty. And what VAR were doing? No, that's fine. That's a penalty. We won't check it. It only took the internet 2 minutes to find. They can spend hours on an offside, but it took X, Threads, Blue Sky 30 seconds to see. Oh, by the way, did you realise Saliba headed the ball before Pedro? So,
but Tabs, I'm going to say no, it wasn't a penalty. So I agree with you, right?
Yeah.
But let's play devil's advocate for just 10 seconds.
Sure.
That touch from Saliba wasn't intentional. It was a deflection off the top of his head more than him heading the ball.
But I think he was going for the ball. But then again, neither was the header against Pedro intentional. So none of it was in. I don't think he meant to. I don't think he was giving Pedro a Glasgow kiss. So
I was going to say something there, but I'm not going. I'm going to bite my tongue. So you said something there about Saliba was going for the ball, but if the ball was on the ground and Saliba went for the ball and Pedro flicked it off him, kicked it away a wee bit, and it bounced off Saliba, and Saliba followed through on Pedro, would that have been a penalty? Yes, it would.
Well, yes and no. But again, a lot of the time they take into account that he got the ball. So yes, there's so many times where he takes the player, but if he gets enough if he deflects the ball, then they don't give the penalty. So
I don't know. I think that's a tricky one.
I think it's more the fact that you've never seen it given before. So why is it then? That all of a sudden it's a penalty when you've never seen that before. And people go out for headers all the time. And also, did you see the one where Gabriel was yanked down in the box going for a corner? So he was trying to lose his man, lost him, but as the guy was falling, he pulled Gabriel down. How is that not a penalty then?
Yeah,
and things like that.
I can't really say much bad about Matt O'Reilly, though. He's a Celtic legend, so
Celtic legends are still allowed to make fouls. Okay. I'm not saying he was trying to be sneaking to get away with something. It's just the inconsistency.
That happens all the time for Arsenal. We're ref differently in that regard. We get fouled in the box every single set piece, and it's always our fault. Always. I don't think we help ourselves, though. The referee, Anthony Taylor, would have been pissed off with our time wasting yesterday and things as well, So it comes into a point where you have unconscious bias. And Anthony Taylor reminds me of Mike Dean, where he just wants it all to be about himself. And he's got this massive ego.
Yeah.
But look, at the end of the day, whether it was a penalty or not, we didn't deserve to win that game.
No.
But if it wasn't a penalty, would we have still won the game? We don't know.
Well, no, I don't know. But I guess when you're going through a bit of a shit time and you're doing your hardest and going through what we're trying to do, you maybe just want something to go your way. Maybe you just want something, a decision like this to go your way. Maybe you don't want that 1 in a million decision to go against you. And no, you're right. It isn't the reason we drew, but it didn't help because I think after the penalty, because up until that point, Brighton had that one chance. It was the guy's name in the 35th minute. It was Adingra. He got into the box, had a clear shot. He sliced it wide, but that's all they did. Yes, they put us under pressure, but again, it was at arm's length. And then once they got the penalty, we got deflated. We were playing in such a way we could not get out the funk we were in. It's not like, okay, we can lift it now. Okay, let's go again, guys. And Brighton got hope, and so it lifted them, it reduced us, and so that goal can make a difference from there. So you're right. It's not the reason we drew, and we did not help ourselves. But bloody hell, you want something to go your way. You want something to work in your favour, and it doesn't. And it changed their momentum, changed how everyone felt on both teams. And players are professionals, but they can still feel sorry for themselves, and they can deflate you. It's just life, and it's I just think put it like this: if it wasn't given, I don't think it would be really mentioned at all, apart from Hertzler, who's a wanker. But that apart from that, it wouldn't really be mentioned or talked about. So I don't think it's It's that. But then again, this is where we leave ourselves exposed to shit happening, and it just seems to be happening to us a lot. And so if we 1-0, flukes happen, shitty decisions happen, and we leave ourselves exposed to that. So don't leave yourselves exposed to that, So and there was still half an hour to go. There was still plenty of time. We had chances. We had free kicks. And actually before that, Marino was very close. Well, I say very close to scoring. He gets better contact, 2-0, 2-0, game over. There was a period, I think it was, in the second half? So 57 minutes, there was one that Estepinian foul on Rice, like jumping up in the air into flattens Rice, which was really dangerous, no yellow. Marino almost scores from a nice, clever free kick. Once we went along the deck. I think he was under pressure. He went through loads of legs. He sliced it, and then a minute later, Brighton get the penalty. And then after that, I think Minter had that cross shot in the 77th. But yeah, it was all arm's length. It wasn't a huge amount. It felt like a pressure, but not really. So, that was yesterday's game.
And the worst thing will be Liverpool will end up losing or drawing to Man United, and we haven't fully capitalised.
Well, so. I would still take it, because then there's still lots of the season to go for us to catch up. But I would. Man United are playing Liverpool, not Man City. Man City, when they played them, and Man United won 2-1. Again, two good, penalty and a great goal, but yeah, that ain't happening. I think we've just got to enjoy Man United getting absolutely spanked.
I honestly think now, as Arsenal fans, we just enjoy this season. Look, we've got 5. Let's kind of talk about the upcoming games, if you like, for a minute, right? Because we have 5 huge home games coming up in a row in the next 2 weeks, pretty much. From when we played Newcastle, we have 5 very big games. We've got Newcastle in the League Cup, which I cannot wait to win. Honestly, I'm you know how much of a fan I am of this cup. Then we have United.
We'll take it. We will take it. Okay, we cannot be snobby about the Carabao Cup.
And then we have United in the FA Cup, Tottenham at home, Villa at home, and then Dinamo Zagreb in the Champions League. That is 5 huge games. If we win all 5, then the season's looking a little bit more positive all of a sudden. You never know what could happen with Liverpool. They could drop points to Forest. They could drop points to United. They could have injuries. But let's not even think about that. Let's not even think about the league. Let's just think about still being in 3 competitions by the end of January. That's a huge deal. And whether Arteta says, right, okay, we might not win the league, but let's focus all of our energy then onto either the Champions League and FA Cup or FA Cup, League Cup, whatever he does, I think he'll be thinking about that in the back of his mind. And I think the players will see that as well. Like, if we're not going to win the league, let's try to win at least 1, if not 2 other trophies this season. No,
absolutely. I was just thinking about it. The season as a whole, my initial thing, it can just do one. I've had enough. I can't be dealing with all this shit that's going on. I don't mind getting beaten by better teams and stuff like that. But yeah, in terms of how the season's gone so far, I've just had enough of this shit. I'd say, and as you said, we are still in semi-final of the League Cup, FA Cup, Champions League. We're well placed with those. We still got to finish second. We still got to finish top 4. So there's not there. I'm just worried, and the reason I'm worried for the next 2 weeks is that luckily we're at home for these games. But who are we going to play? Who's going to score the goals? Maybe with cup games, defensive, you can get away with 1-0's defense. I think solid defenses can do you well in cup games, especially like Champions League. But who's going to score the goals? Who have we got? Who can we play? We don't even know what state they're in, how bad the illness is, how fit everyone. I mean, Martinelli came off the bench and he was apparently injured. He was there making up the numbers. Ranieri's out, Sterling's out, Saka's out, Tomiyasu's out. Who else? Ben White, and hopefully he's making a return January, February time. But yeah, also that's very easily forgotten. He's been out. Yeah, again, we're going to be flogging this team to death. So, okay, so here's a question for you, because we cannot play all the players all the time. Where's your priorities? Where are your priorities?
For me, I think we should prioritise a domestic cup double and hope we get far enough in the Champions League to give the fans something to be positive about. On
Yeah,
current form with injuries and the way we're playing, I don't think we at the moment have a chance of winning the Champions League. But you never know. Champions League games, you've seen it before. Tottenham got to the Champions League final, and it's almost like the luck of the draw, really, isn't it? So I
yeah.
think that will become a lot more clearer after we play against Zagreb and Girona. It'll become
Well,
a lot more clearer what our kind of route to the
yeah.
latter stages of the competition will look like.
Well, we can't. We definitely have to avoid those playoffs. We cannot be getting extra games on this team.
Yeah,
On this team.
yeah, I would agree. I would say Dinamo Zagreb, and I think Whale made a very good point in the
Yeah.
chat saying we could easily drop out of the top eight if we didn't win the next two games. It's that
I,
tight.
I think Zagreb. We win Zagreb. I think we're 90% guaranteed top eight. So
Yeah, I'm looking at the league table just now. So we're obviously on 13
yeah,
points. Dortmund are on 12, and they're in ninth position.
yeah,
So if we win against Zagreb, then yeah. And look, Zagreb have won two, drawn two, so they're also fighting to get into the playoffs.
yeah. But I mean, but actually, that I think the Zagreb is the game that we might be able to rest a couple of players. I think Man United in the cup and Zagreb is where we may see a bit more. Where I think we go. So we look at. I think we go full strength against Newcastle. We have to go full strength in Newcastle purely because we need to take a lead up to St James's Park. We need to have a 2-goal lead up to St James's Park because we know what it's going to be like playing there under lights, cup semi-final, depleted squad. We will be going for the draw from the minute one. From minute one. So, and they're going to come and keep it tight. They all want to go away with a draw if they can snatch a win. Great. They're in form at the moment. So okay, if we look at that game, they're actually. So if we look at the Newcastle semi. So what have Newcastle? They won their last 5 in the league
Without conceding.
No, they split one in against Tottenham, didn't they? Yesterday.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
But they beat Tottenham 2-1. I mean, but Man United 2-1. So a couple of easy games. Villa 3-0, Ipswich 4-0, Leicester 4-0. Then before that in December, lost to Brentford, drew with Palace, drew with Liverpool, lost to West Ham at home. So, but they've hit some form in December, and now they're up to 5th. So they've got stuff to play for in the league, which maybe helps us a bit. But that's not going to be easy, and we need. I am concerned for the next 2-3 weeks. It could be one of those. We've had it in the past. We've had 1 week where we just look out of every competition. I think we're still a very good team, but we can be a very good team when our good players playing. If we've got nobody to play and we're flogging everyone to death, it's going to be hard. I mean, at least we're in the semi, so that's something to be said. So what are you looking forward to in terms of the Newcastle game, and what aren't you looking forward to?
I just want to ask, why the heck have you given player of the match for yesterday to Mikel Merino?
Oh, if we're going back to yesterday, I don't know. I found him the best of a bad bunch. I thought the way he set up the goal for Waneri, or at least released him to space, it was a struggle. Maybe he could have done Saliba, but I don't think there was anyone really standing out. So if I had to pick someone, he was there, but he wasn't great.
I would have given it to Calafiori. Actually, I thought he played. Yeah. He had a good game. He was a couple of times he was kind of flat-footed. He's not very pacey, is he?
No, he gets challenged. That's something he needs to work on. I think we've seen that a lot of the time when he gets turned and he's having to chase back. He's not the quickest. He's definitely better going forward than going backwards, shall we say? But luckily he's got Gabriel on that side to cover him, and if eventually we have Rice at the back, then it won't be hopefully too exposed.
But there you go. Plonker of the match to Anthony Taylor.
Yeah, Anthony fucking Taylor. Yes. So apparently that's his initials are AFT. So I'm assuming that just stands for fucking.
My plonker of the match would probably be either Anthony Taylor or João Pedro, because he's just made a meal of this kind of head knock, and if it was anywhere else in the pitch, he would probably get back up again or something. But he
shouldn't have even been playing. He should have been sent off against Brentford for that. Okay, he missed, but that elbow that he
not even sent off, but retrospectively banned.
Yeah, something about that doesn't happen. No. It's all the rest of it. But anyway, so look, let's move on. We are in the semi-final of the League Cup. I think I think we've sort of had a view of yesterday in Brighton and a bigger picture theme, but we've got games to play and so on. I think we've touched on it already and mentioned a few things, but what are you looking forward to and not looking forward to in terms of our semi-final on Tuesday against Newcastle?
I'm looking forward to. Oh God, I'm looking forward to the start of 5 home games, 5 games in front of a raucous crowd. I'm hoping a raucous crowd at the Emirates. I won't be there, so the atmosphere might be a little bit less intense. But I'm looking forward to that. First of 5 home games. I'm looking forward to actually testing ourselves against opposition who are on form and just see exactly where we're at this season. Where are we? How are we playing? And also looking forward to potentially watching the addition of Alexander Isak at the Emirates to see how well he does. And not looking forward to a couple of things. Not looking forward to Newcastle being probably the most informed team alongside, well, they're the most informed team in the league just now, aren't they? They've won their last 5 games, you said, didn't they? So
Yeah.
there's that. And then also, in fact, they are. Newcastle and Nottingham Forest are the only teams in the league right now who have won their last 5 games.
Yeah, scored 15, let in 1.
Yeah. And Forest is 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. They've scored 10 and let in 3. So Newcastle are doing very well at the moment. That's what I'm not looking forward to. We need a result against Newcastle at the Emirates before we go to St James's Park. Whale and I will be there together. Jermaine's going. Are you going as well? Are you?
Well, hopefully, if we can get tickets, yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
When they go on sale, I'm assuming they're gonna drop down to 0. So yeah, I think
Well,
yeah. So hopefully I'll be there.
We'll see you in the tune.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm not looking forward to, just needing a result against them at home, because we will probably struggle away. To Newcastle, it'll be a very tough place to go to. I've not ever seen us win at St James's Park, so that's fine. I think I'm confident. I'm quietly confident, though, Tabs. I don't know. I just feel like you wrote in your notes earlier on that this could be the start of almost like a downward trajectory in form. But I feel the opposite. I think this could be the start for us saying, look, pressure's off now. We've dropped all these points. Let's just go on a winning run. Let's beat United in the FA Cup. Let's beat Newcastle in the League Cup. Let's beat Tottenham because we always want to beat them. Let's beat Villa because they're like the team that we all kind of hate, don't we? We just don't like Villa. And let's beat Zagreb in the Champions League, and then suddenly everything's looking a little bit more rosier again.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree on that point. I just struggle with the fact that who are we going to do it with, because we're just looking flat, lacking in energy. So this isn't through any, I think, desire. I think just physically, we're struggling, and you come up against a team like Newcastle, who are a physical unit, and we talk about getting ref differently. They get ref differently. That for some reason they are allowed to kick the shit out of people and get away with it because they're Newcastle. And there's some sort of, I don't understand it. They're a bit of an English team, so they're allowed to do that because that's who they are. And we can't give yellow cards to everyone, so we won't give yellow cards to anyone. And yes, I am a bit biased, and I'm very biased and a bit paranoid. As you said earlier, we get ref differently, and if we were to do the same as Newcastle do, we would be having yellows and reds left, right, and centre. Mm. So I think, yeah. What I'm not looking forward to, I think they will come and they will do a job on us in terms of how other teams have done a job on us. They will sit back and they will look to counter us on the break with Gordon, with Isaac. They will happily soak it all up. They've done it before a couple of years back. They came and it was the most dour, annoying 0-0 time wasting. They will do that, and so we need to find a way to break that down, and I think that'll be a struggle. I'm hoping Havertz is back to provide some height and some strength, but like you, we have to come away with a result, but not so much that we have to go to St James's Park with something that gives us a chance to win. Now, I'd love us to win 5-0 and we can just ease into it out there, but yeah, I'm thinking more 1-0, 2-0. But so that's what I'm not looking forward to. Yeah, what I'm looking forward to is semi-final at the Emirates, chance for a trophy. It should be a good atmosphere. and let's do them. You said you said we don't like Villa. Well, there's lots of teams I don't like at the moment: Brighton, Villa, Newcastle,
Chelsea.
so Chelsea. Yeah. So so I'm looking forward to like a good semi-final Tuesday night. Let's do them. So in terms of potential lineup, at least Timber will be back. So that means Partey back in the middle. Other than that, I don't know. The only other change would be hopefully Odegaard's feeling better. Hopefully Havertz is feeling better.
I think
We could
line up.
freshen up a bit.
I think we go Lewis, Skelly, Gabriel, Saliba, Timber.
Timber, yeah.
I think Raya goes in goals for this one as well. Semi-final
Yeah.
up. I don't think Tommy Setford gets a look in, I'm afraid. And then in midfield, I think we go Rice. Odegaard, I'm hoping we don't know how bad Odegaard is. If he's played against Brighton, then you would suggest, that he's almost ready. If he was really unwell, but
he
then
looked
again,
a shell of himself. He just couldn't do anything. He just had nothing there. He was just there to, yeah.
Yeah, I think we go Rice, Marino, Partey, or Rice, Odegaard, Partey in the middle. So either Marino or Odegaard, but Rice and Partey, I think, will both start.
Yeah.
And then up top, it's tricky. Let's assume Havertz, if he's this unwell, not to even travel to Brighton, then I don't think he'll be able to play against Newcastle. So I think we go Jesus, Martinelli, Trossard.
It looks like that, yeah, because when Eri will be out, more than likely, I think Sterling's still out. Yeah, Havertz, he might be just an option on the bench. So look, on paper, that's a decent enough team. So you look at that on paper in isolation, we should be able to get a result at home against Newcastle. External circumstances may dictate otherwise, but we'll see. We'll remain hopeful. I think the crowd will be up for it. I think it's not a league game; it's a cup game. Different atmosphere. We can forget about the league for a bit, And you're right. We'll focus on those cups, and so we'll be right behind them.
I just hope it's a good atmosphere, because sometimes a midweek kickoff and it's a League Cup. It's a lot of there's a lot of tickets going. It's one of those ones where it could have the potential to be a little bit of a sticky.
I don't know. I think it's a semi-final. I think you will have less of the kiddie crowd and more of the the season ticket holders will be there in force as opposed to giving up their seats. So I think a couple of drinks.
Do you reckon Wales? Do you reckon Wales going?
Oh, no idea. I haven't checked in with him, but yeah, I'll be there. My son will be there, so no, I'm looking forward to it. Look, in terms of their Newcastle, their best player, yeah, we've talked about Isaac. He scored 13 goals this season already. 5 for Harvey Barnes, 5 for Gordon, 4 for Joel Linton. They've got a couple of people who are out. Now, this is the thing. I think was it Guimaraes and someone else is out. I might even be Joe Linton. I don't know if you can check. I can't access the computer to check. But they've got a couple of suspensions which may help us.
So it looks like Joe Linton's not classed as injured. It's just Wilson, Emil Kraft, Jamal Lascelles, and Nick Pope.
Yeah, I've got those as injured, but I think there's a couple of suspensions as well. So I can't remember. I think it's definitely Guimaraes and one other. So that may help us a little bit. Yeah. So in terms of prediction,
I'm going 1-1.
Wow. Sorry, that was far from camera. Far from. Wow. Okay, 1-1. Okay, so after all the big talk, 1-1.
Well, look, yeah, I would love us to win 3-0 and go to St James's Park and sit back and park the bus and play Brexit ball. But I think 1-1. Newcastle are a very good team. It wouldn't surprise me if they find a way to beat us with our injury and illness crisis at the moment as well. But I don't want to be that negative guy. I think I've done my fair share of that anyway, as I'm sure at the top of the pod you heard Isaac moaning about. So I think we'll go 1-1. We might sneak a 1-0 or a 2-1 or something, but yeah, I would say 1-1.
Okay, 1-1. 2-1 to us. I think 2-1. I think maybe the cup will lift us a bit. We'll be up for the cup, as they say, but again, we'll give up a goal somehow. not through giving up big chances. It's just the way things are going at the moment. Maybe our luck will change, maybe it doesn't. But yeah, I'm going 2-1. I think we have to take something up to Newcastle. We need to take a lead up there, because that's going to be one hell of a game away in February. But maybe in February we'll have some players back. Maybe we won't have to play our youth team. So what's the 14-year-old or 15-year-old that we're going to start up front?
Dowman.
Yeah, Max Dowman. There you go. He's going to make his debut.
He looks very, very good. Apparently, he's like the next world class player that we have coming through the academy. So
the next big thing.
The first team at 14, 15 years old is just unbelievable.
There you go. Hat-trick incoming from Max Dowman. You heard it here first. Let's not get too excited. There we go. Well, look, is what it is. We just got steep. Still keep supporting. Still get behind the team.
At the end of the day, we're Arsenal fans. We've been through so much worse.
Yeah.
We have been through the absolute trenches with this squad. We've signed the likes of Kim Kallstrom, who was injured on transfer deadline day. We have lost 8-2 to Manchester United. We have lost 5-0 to Chelsea. We've been through some absolute shocking times. And when you think about this, it's not that bad. We're second in the league. We're in the League Cup, the FA Cup, and the Champions League.
Yeah.
We've got so much to play for.
Yeah.
Whether it's 3 trophies, 4, or even 1 or 2.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that it's just frustration in terms of how it could have been different, but it isn't. That's football. It's not linear. There's no guarantee. Even if you deserve, you don't get what you deserve, and all the rest of it. So it is what it is. Disappointing, but we'll just move on to the next game, which is Newcastle. Win that. We beat Man United, beat Tottenham, and I think we'll be quite a happy bunch. So again, thank you, Mos, for your time today. I really appreciated that. I think that's helped. I think it's good to get a few things off our chests. Life's not perfect, but we move on. And
I'll be back. I'm gonna make it one of my New Year's resolutions was to get back on this podcast more often, and just seeing you absolutely butchering the hosting. So come on, just to restore some order, like just restoring the order in these parts.
Your opinions were going so well up into the last minute. You just fumbled the ball.
Yeah. And are you going to Man U then as well? Or
I should be all the home games, so I'm good. I even managed to get Gianluca a ticket for Newcastle as well. So thank you, Ian. I was going to say formerly of this parish, but on hiatus from this parish. So
I must thank him actually. I'll give him a message, check in on him.
Get well soon, Ian. Hopefully you're feeling better.
And we'll speak obviously before next Sunday, Tabs. But if not, I will see you in person on Sunday. I'm down in London for a full week, so
very good.
Doing a kind of 2, maybe 3 game bender, if you like. So
getting drunk on Arsenal and our success.
Exactly.
There we go. And on that note, look, you can follow us on Threads and Blue Sky at the Grove ASC. Thank you for everyone that follows and responds and just appreciates whatever drivel I put out on there. So thank you very much for that.
Even if you don't follow, even if you share or like the comments, it helps a lot because it comes up in algorithms and whatnot, and it really does help spread the word about the great job Tabs is doing hosting this pod.
And on the socials. Thank you for that. And look, next show will be out after the Newcastle victory, and then before our Man United Cup game. So at least we've got an easy game following Newcastle, so that's all right. We can rest players against Man United. That'll be good. Look, I said on the last pod that I hope 2025 is full of health, happiness, and laughter. Health, happiness, but at least we've got a bit of laughter, so that's nice to see. So look, leaves me to say thank you, Mos. Have a good day.
You too. I'm off to watch Liverpool lose to Man U now.
Very good. So am I. So until the next time, come on, you Gunners.